And we are live. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another edition of the Nuclear Golf Podcast. This is episode number 49. My name is John. I'm the co-owner of Nuclear Golf and TW Legion. Joined tonight by Joey from Scheffler Fans, Ryan from JT Legion, and Hutch Bennett, one of our Nuclear Golf ambassadors. Fellas, Happy New Year. It's January 5th, our first show of the new year. And there's not a whole lot going on, to be honest. The PGA Tour is not even back yet. We've had a couple episodes of TGL so far. Rory did an interview with the Overlap podcast and gave a bunch of notable quotes about Liv, talking about Brooks. During the TGL pregame show, we also made some comments about Brooks and wanted to have him back on TGL. We also saw some comments from Rory about Keegan Bradley and about him not doing enough to quiet down the fan behavior at Bethpage. But we'll chat a little bit about that interview. We're not going to overdo it too much. There's a lot of quotes that came out of that thing. So we'll touch on it for a little bit. But Live Golf is also doing their promotions event this week. It's at Black Diamond Ranch in Florida. It's the first time it's taking place in the U.S. I'm sure Hutch will have a lot more insight to say about it, but field's not exactly loaded. I mean, it's basically headlined by Anthony Kim, maybe Chris Wood, if that excites you. Not a ton. So we'll talk about that. It's just some other news and notes as well. Pat Perez is hinting at potentially a Champions Tour return. Live Golf's also expanded their field in the past week. They're now going to 57 players, 13 teams, and 5 wild cards. And we also had a Tiger Woods sighting over the weekend, this past weekend, which was great to see. He was also gripping a golf club in front of ex-wife Elin Nordegren, which was quite a sight. So, yeah, that's about it, fellas. Let's get into it. Maybe start out with the Rory stuff. He started out this interview with some comments about Liv. Said, quote, "I think the thing is with Liv, it hasn't really resonated with people. I think there are some good elements to it. Maybe it's just that I'm too much of a traditionalist to get it, but it just doesn't seem to have anything. They were coming into the game saying, we're going to be different, we're going to be this, we're going to be that, and it's not. Even the fact they've now switched from 54 holes to 72 holes to get OWGR points. So it's like you're just doing what everyone else is doing. So what's different apart from the money? The thing that it's done is it's elevated the majors and it's elevated the Ryder Cup because it's the only 4 or 5 times a year you see all the best players playing together. For golf to be relevant, I think we need the best players playing more often than that. They've spent billions on Liv. If Liv is failing to capture the imagination and they've spent so much money on this venture and it isn't making a return, I don't know how much longer it can keep going." So that was Rory McIlroy reacting to Liv upping the tournament weeks to 72 holes. Hutch, let's go to you first. What do you make of Rory's comments about Liv? Are you sick of Rory getting involved in the politics or saying he would step aside, or what do you think?
Just in general, like, what would he talk about if he didn't talk about Liv? Like, it feels like he's just obsessed. Like, he's just like, it's like a woman going and talking bad about her ex-boyfriend to anybody that'll listen, just so that everybody's on her side. Like, it's crazy at this point. Just let it go. And two, like, second, he made a particular point about switching to 72 holes. Like, Trevor Imlin is on record saying 54-72 didn't have that much of an impact on anything. They wouldn't have got full points. They would have got like 75% of the points, but it wouldn't have been a whole thing. So just in general, like, I'm kind of tired of it. Like, he did a whole press run. I know we're talking about one interview and then a TGL pregame show, but he did a whole press run where he just talked about Liv. And I know you could say, like, he just answered the questions that are asked, but, like, he ain't got to go in that much detail. Like, come on now. There's plenty to talk about. You ain't got to talk about Liv all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think too. I mean, I don't think some of the things he said are really disputable. I think he does. I think he does lay out some facts that are kind of relevant. When will they stop? They won't, because they have an endless pot of money. But I mean, I kind of just want to move on from the narrative and just let whatever happens happen. And the PGA Tour is flourishing, honestly. So I think I would just live in that, bathe in that, and move on and just enjoy what we have. I don't disagree with his point that it has elevated the majors and the Ryder Cup even more because it is the only time you see the John Rahms, the Brookses, the Terrell Hattons, and all that. I don't disagree with him, but at the same time, it's just like let's just move on from the gotcha quotes. I don't need it.
I mean, what he's saying is not wrong. We've spoke about it probably 1,000 times, and I think he has as well. Just stop talking about it. I think that's the whole point. Like you made your point. It's been clear. They're not invalid points. I would agree with a good amount of them. I think it's a fair point. But like, damn, dude. Like I don't like I know you're doing a media circuit and like you're being asked the questions like you said, but like I mean we're just
At this point, he's just drawing more attention to Live. Like it would be quiet all around Live right now if Rory wasn't out here talking about it all the time. He's just putting more eyes on it.
Yeah. Before we move forward with the rest of this interview or the rest of his interview, I have seen, and Hutch, maybe you've seen, there's some Live insiders on X. We all kind of know which accounts they are. They are very knowledgeable about what's going on in terms of the inner workings of Live. Whether you agree or disagree with much of what they have to say, I do think that most of the points that they make come from within. So you're getting a pretty good sense of what's going on over there. And their own kind of insiders are kind of sounding the alarm, I would say. They've made the case like leadership has changed drastically. There's been a lot of turnover over the summer. Things are a lot different now. They're of the opinion that Liv needs to spend money now. At the end of the day, it is a startup kind of product and it takes time to penetrate the market. And they believe that, if they don't bear down and spend another couple hundred million in pretty short order, that it's going to kind of fall apart. And they're all in agreement that if they are somehow not successful at re-signing Bryson DeChambeau to an extension, that the league is in trouble. He is the face of the entire thing. Nobody on that tour reaches his level from a marketability standpoint. And that's a deep concern, right, for them. Hutch, what do you make of those things that we've seen on X from some of those accounts lately?
I mean, it's 100% correct, right? Like just common sense would tell you that if you lose the most marketable player in the world, you're hurting. Losing Brooks was kind of a big deal. They made a big splash with all these big name players, and they've got some of them, but you still see like Phil's older. He still can get some eyes, but he's older. DJ just kind of lackadaisical in general. John Rahm obviously is huge, but you've got to keep Bryson. Like he is the engine. He's everything. And I would be deeply concerned as a Live fan. I would be deeply concerned for the league if he were to go. So whatever they need to do to smooth things over with Bryson to make him feel good. And we talked about it last week that Bryson's comments were just leverage is all it was. So I think the dollar figure's right. He'll stay, but boy, they've got to have him. And he has all the power.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it too, it's to what they're speaking to, maybe it's the elephant in the room, but it's the model development. What is the model going to be? How are they going to continue to attract players, and how is it going to develop those players' careers moving forward? Like, what is the benefit of poaching a player from the PGA Tour? What is that benefit at this point? You don't really see anybody elevating their game on the Live Tour. So what do they need to do? And I think that's the biggest question of all. Obviously, keeping Bryson is their number one priority, or maybe should be. But maybe 1B to that is, how do we sell this moving forward? As to, are we improving this player's career? Are we improving this players' chances of getting into majors, or moving up in the world golf rankings once we get points? Like what are we doing? And there's not any clear, concise answers. And we're in year, I'm not sure what now, 3 or 4 or 5, but like, what are we? It's just hard to see what the future is.
I think that's the big thing, though. I think it's hard to fully and truly evaluate the full picture until they have rankings points. Once they have that, then we can really see, like, okay, how's this actually going to work? Is there a chance that these people get elevated? And then all of a sudden, if they're getting points, going out and signing these hotshot college players is not such a bad idea, because you may get lucky and one of them may turn into the next Scotty Scheffler or Jordan Spieth or whoever that just rockets up at a very young age. But it's hard. You need the full picture, and they need to get points for us to make a true, thorough evaluation of what it looks like, to me anyway.
Yeah, there was a little bit of rumored drama going on inside of the Ironheads Golf Club, I believe. All those rumored signings in recent weeks have been uh, tied to the South Korean team. Right? There was the rumors of the Siwoo Kims, there was the Sung Jae Ims. More recently, actually, within the past week on the Smiley Kaufman show, they reported that um, they heard that there's been drama inside of the Ironheads, and then another user over on X reported that Kevin Na, the captain of the Ironheads, no longer follows his own team or live at all on Instagram. He also changed his profile photo to be something else.
Did he change his
So
relationship status too, or what are we?
so we're not sure if one of those Siwoo Kims or Sung Jae Ims was intended to come in and potentially replace Kevin Na. Not saying that. Maybe things are all fine, but definitely sounds like something's going on, and I'm not sure if it's with Kevin Na or if it's just with the team in general. But interesting for sure. Um, okay, if we go back to Rory just for a sec, one of the big moments that came out of that interview was him talking about players returning to the PGA Tour who had gone to live. And we all know before the tour was taking a very hard line stance on this about the guys are going to have to, they're probably going to come back, but they're going to have to pay their dues and probably be hit with some heavy fines and whatnot, right? Rory's really changed his stance on that. He's saying, I think they've already paid their consequence. They've made the money, but they've also paid their consequence in terms of the reputation and some of the things they've lost by going over there. If it made the overall tour stronger to have Bryson DeChambeau back and whoever else, I would be okay with it. But it's not just me, and I recognize that not everyone is in my position. It would be up to the collective group of tour members to make that decision. So what do you guys make of that? Do you think the guys should be serving out their suspension, or do you think it should be a case by case basis? Like, do you think a Brooks should have to wait until August to get back, or do you expect that we could see him in a number of months?
I mean, I go ahead, Hutch. You can go.
I mean, it's just I get more frustrated with him changing his views constantly on it. Like at the beginning of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but at the beginning of this, didn't he say essentially, fuck them, they can never come back? Like, I hate them, whatever. You made your choice, you're gone forever, banished, you're done. Like, and now it suits him a little better for them to say that they can come back. Do I think they need to serve their suspensions? Yeah, because I believe if you say something as a tour, you should stand on it. Like, you told them they can't come back, or you told them they were going to be suspended for a year, stand on it. But again, like we talked about it last week. Like, I think there will be exceptions made for big name players. Like if Bryson decided he wanted to come back and bought himself out of his contract, they'd probably let him in the first event. Doesn't have quite the star power, but they're going to let him back. I bet he plays multiple times before August, would be my bet.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Rory just, I think in general, Rory wants one united tour. And I think where he wavers is how we get that. Because it used to be, he kind of went through the stages of it where at the beginning it was like, all right, I'm angry. And then he kind of mourned it a little bit. And then he was grieving. And now he's trying to reconcile and bring everybody back together. And it's just like like Kevin Na's relationship status, man. It feels high schoolish right now to me.
I think the change in stance is kind of funny too, because if you really look at it in its totality, Rory in the beginning was carrying the company water, right? Like he was anti-live, he was anti this because they truly saw it as a threat to the establishment, right? And I think now that it's kind of that it's developed, the situation's developed. I don't want to say come to fruition, but that it's developed. It's like it's kind of not a threat to the tour, and it's also made the tour even better. So I think that's where you see his wishy-washy stances. I think it's just kind of like as it as the tide turns, like, it's like, okay, now we want him back. But at the end of the day, with the Brooks comments, I don't know if he truly means that with all the players, but Brooks is a South Florida boy. He's boys with all those guys. They play golf together. He has no hate for Brooks. Like, let's be honest. And I think so many of his early comments was just kind of, repping the shield, if you will. I mean, that's just kind of what he was doing. So while I don't like it, I do kind of understand his change in stance, but I think it'd just be better left unsaid.
That's what I want to ask y'all three is, do you think it's coincidence, or do you think we're really seeing now what Rory's opinion was the whole time? Do you think he was just carrying the company water, as you say at the beginning? And then, because don't forget, like, Jay Monahan kind of stabbed Rory in the back after he was out there being the face for everything. And then he made a framework agreement with the guys that they were talking all that shit about. So I don't know if do you think this is his true stance and he's felt this way the whole time, but at the beginning he was just doing what he felt was right for the tour or their talking points?
I mean, I think Rory was kind of stuck being the talking figure of the tour. And I'm sure he has changed his perspective on this a lot. I think there was a lot of pressure up front to stop the immediate bleed and, be basically pushing as much anti-live propaganda as possible. Whether he truly believed that or not, I'm sure we'll never know. It was probably somewhere in the middle. I'm sure he obviously wanted to, keep his allegiance with the tour, but also understood the points of live and why people did it, which, is a conversation for another day. But I think he's just kind of stuffed because the PGA Tour can't come out and say all these things. They want Brooks back, right? They made their point and made a case of, if you leave, here's the punishment you're going to face, and that got amplified through the people that speak on behalf of PGA Tour and some of their biggest players. They want Brooks playing. Like, they don't want to wait till August. That's a guy that's going to bring more views and more competition. But then they look bad if they kind of revoke that and walk it back. So it's kind of getting pushed on Rory because he's kind of been, again, speaking for the tour and, at least on a lot of these, media circuits and everything. And so I think he's just kind of been in a tough spot where he's kind of had to dance around just based on what the tour, both what he thinks and what the tour has been kind of pushing for him, probably to kind of make the narrative.
I think what we're seeing now is Rory, and I feel like Tiger would actually have a very similar opinion now. These guys feel that the tour is in a very, very strong position now. Um, they're looking ahead to the 2027 schedule revamp. It's loaded, it's condensed, but it's got the biggest events with the best fields. And I think they just feel good about themselves. At the same time, Brooks has been away from the PGA Tour now for 4 or 5 years. So in a way, it's like they also feel, I think, that Live is trending down and that the tour is trending up. So I think it's easier pill to swallow to be able to just say, hey, yeah, of course we want Brooks back. We're on the upswing. Brooks is such a great player. He's a 5-time major champion. It can only benefit us to have him back in our fields. So, I mean, you're seeing it. Like, Rory's literally there. They made a point to, like, publicly asked Rory straight point blank, Scott Van Pelt, during TGL, like literally a PGA Tour funded league, asking him, do you think Brooks Koepka could come back? Do you see him playing on a team? Like, they're asking questions about Brooks very publicly. And it's not an accident that, he's getting asked that in front of the cameras. They're setting the stage, preparing the public for Brooks's return. I'm not sure if it's not going to be in August, but it's going to be like after Augusta is my guess. Jenna Sims liked a post today on Instagram, which indicated in the comment, why would Brooks return before the Masters? Like something along the lines like that. But it's clear that he's going to be back. It's just, I think, when. Rory also alluded to the fact that one prominent player had already made up their mind about what he wants to do. So he was clearly referring to Brooks as well.
Yeah, and I mean juxtaposed to Brooks's Roy's position on Brooks, look at the other side. Look at your algorithm on X now on as far as live goes. Unless somebody's totally manipulated my algorithm, I don't have all of the live stuff coming across as promoting this, shaming that, going out of the way. Like I don't know if live is just divested their social media or whatnot, but I don't see all that either. So it's kind of like a realization of where we are currently. And I think yeah, it's what you're hearing from Rory, and I think it's what you're not hearing from, the super live supporters or the super live promoters. I just don't see it as much on my golf algorithm on X anymore. I don't know if you guys see that any different, but I know mine's totally changed.
I think they're just doing it. They're treating the off season like the off season, whereas Rory's out here trumpeting live for them. But yeah, I think they're just kind of quiet right now because there's nothing to talk about. There's no events.
Some or is not doing much of that either, but Liv gets hurt way more from not actively pushing that.
Sure.
24/7. PGA Tour can just post whatever they want, whenever they want, which is never, and still be fine because they're The Rock. They don't have to move.
The Golf Lovers United podcast, which is very pro live but very plugged in at the same time. I had a listen on there. They're pretty tuned into what's going on. They say they've heard some rumors and reports of potential situation in the next several weeks for potentially the PIF selling some of their stake in live. I know this hasn't gone public or been mainstream, but they said there's a possibility that private equity could be coming in for a portion of the live golf league. Don't really know a whole lot more specifics than that, but it's definitely something to watch. And they did indicate that this next 6 weeks is a huge time frame for live golf to make some things happen behind the scenes that need to happen. It sounds like there's a lot of things going on, a lot of balls in the air, and a lot of moving parts. They obviously have their promotions event this week in Florida, where I believe the top three finishers are going to earn wild card spots for the 2026 season. So that'll be interesting. But a lot of former live guys that have either been relegated or played in years past are competing in that event. So we'll keep an eye on that. But the field is really headlined by a guy like Anthony Kim, right? Who's trying to fight back and earn his spot as after he was relegated, and won't be back for this coming season unless he's able to secure status.
It would just be such a massive story if he was doing this on the PGA Tour. It would be such a massive, like, they could spin it as such an inspirational story. And I think because it's on live, it's not talked about that much. But I know he said he's putting out a documentary. I'm looking forward to seeing that because it sounds like he went through some crazy shit to get back where he is, and it's a great on him for doing it. Honestly,
All right, I can't believe we're still talking about the Ryder Cup.
I thought you were
Like
going to
honestly, it truly feels like the ship had sailed. We're moving on to Adair. It is what it is. Some fans were misbehaving in Bethpage. It's unfortunate. I don't advocate for any player or their family to be subject to abuse. We don't support that here on this show. There's always going to be some idiots in a large crowd, right? And I guess in this case there was a few thousand idiots, unfortunately.
it's New York.
It's New York, and
We knew it was happening.
we knew that it was going to happen. It was inevitable. It's unfortunate that it got to the point that it did, to the level it did. But Rory McIlroy does this podcast with the overlap, and he's literally a teammate with Keegan Bradley. Still decided to take the route of shaming Keegan Bradley, like months after the Ryder Cup has been concluded, Keegan and I have talked about this. You have to play into the home field advantage, absolutely. But during the competition on Friday night and Saturday night, after the stuff that we heard on the course, there was an opportunity for either Keegan or some of the teammates to be like, let's just calm down here. Let's try to play this match in the right spirit. Some of them did that, but obviously Keegan had the biggest platform of the week in being the captain. I feel like he could have said something on that Friday or Saturday, and he didn't. So surprising to me. Like I wouldn't be making a call. I know Rory like speaks his mind and says what he wants to say, but I don't think I'd be saying that if I was Rory. It is what it is. Like don't shame fellow competitors in the competition or a teammate on your TGL team over that. I mean,
5 minutes before your match.
Yeah.
well, yeah. Like Keegan there was only so much that he could do in the situation, right? Like, could he have come on the mic and said more? But lay the blame at the PGA of America if it's, in my opinion, right? Like they could have done more. At the time, the CEO of the PGA basically just came on and said, "Oh, it was like a kid's soccer game or whatever." That was a poor comment by him.
But if Keegan goes out there, let's just say hypothetically, after day one or after day two, whatever, Keegan goes out there and gets on the first tee and gets a microphone and says, "Hey, everybody, be nice. Stop being mean. Y'all be nice." Now, we're getting our asses kicked at that point. What do you think the crowd's going to do?
He's going to be more than Rory.
Yeah, they're going to boo the shit out of Keegan. Is what they're going to do.
Tenfold.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Absolutely. That's just a wild thing for Rory to say, but not totally surprising, as we've covered for the last 27 minutes and 13 seconds now. Rory says some wild shit. So, like,
Yeah.
That's weird to suggest.
At this point, if you're Rory, like, can you just take the dub? I would just hold up the dub and just be like, we won. It doesn't matter anymore. And you handle all of the future Ryder Cup stuff. You handle that in the background. The PGA of America, the R&A, they handle that stuff in the background on fan performance or excuse me, fan activity, what they do about it, how they police it, like handle that stuff in the background. But it was just odd because you see him and Keegan reading putts together on the TGL green, and you see them dapping each other up, good shot, that and the other. It's just like, is any of this real? Is any of this action? Or are we just looking for clickbait here? Like, what is any of this? I would just take the dub, and I would just be like, we were the 2025 Ryder Cup champions, and moving forward, maybe fan behavior will change based off of how it's policed, but I'm not really sure why we're talking about it, especially as you're dapping up the guy you're criticizing.
That's the annoying thing is it's like he loves to complain on media situations or whenever he gets the opportunity, but completely turns face when it's a matter of which I know he shouldn't hold something to, like if he was somehow holding it against Keegan at TGL, that would somehow be worse. But then if you're gonna be buddy with him, like just shut up about like there's no reason to make a point of like that. I don't know what the actual question was, but however you get to Keegan could have done more. Just be like, hey, it's been over for however many months now. Team Europe's excited to play again come a year and a half because it's been damn near 6 months. It feels like at this point since it's happy. So.
I mean, and again, I kind of just go back to it's in New York. We knew it was going to happen. If they wanted to avoid that, don't put it in New York.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seems obvious, but whatever.
We've now had 2 weeks of TGL. I'm not sure if you guys really dialed into it. Just a quick observation on my end. I've said this before. I'll continue to say it. I'm unable to watch TGL if I'm looking at my phone. It moves way too quickly. If I'm looking at my phone, I find like TGL is a great watch for me in terms of something to have on in the background. I really enjoyed having it on my TV on a Friday night when I was doing some other things. But again, I'm just taking a glance at it every so often. I'm not like watching it to really be immersed in the competition. That's just how I find. I also find that the guys kind of know that it's a fun thing. Like the players, they know that it's a fun thing. And a lot of them are just kind of embracing that aspect of it. A lot of the guys on the teams are friends with one another. So it's very chill and relaxed to see them in that kind of environment. I don't think they take it too seriously. I know they show some emotion and stuff like that when they make a putt, but I also think these guys are having some beers before the round, and it's just a loose type of setting. What are you guys' thoughts on TGL so far, Ryan? I know you've been watching it here and there. Did you watch a little bit of the Friday night action between Boston and LA?
Yeah, I did. I was actually back home at my folks' place, and we didn't ended up watching it, at least the last like 9 holes of it. And you know, I do enjoy, but I do, to your point, I do find it kind of odd because they're interviewing Justin Rose, right? And basically, the questions that they're interviewing him for are just touting up Rory, which is on the opposite team. It's kind of like, what's Rory meant to you? What's this, that, and the other? And he's praising Rory for the international player that he is and winning the Grand Slam and all this stuff. And he's on the opposite team. So that part is just kind of, it doesn't feel as competitive as maybe they want it to be. I do feel that it does get competitive, especially once it gets to the singles down in the last. But it's just, I do enjoy it. I love to watch it, but I'm with you. If you are distracted by anything, whether you have kids or whether you have a phone, like you're missing shots. Like, you're 100% missing shots. So it's kind of one of those things that they're gonna have to figure out a way to draw us in more for the competitive part of it, as opposed to it just being kind of a casual leisure thing that you're watching in the background. But as of right now, and there's still some, and this too, there's still some tech issues too, right? They would hitting when they're hitting wedge shots from that upper tee. I mean, those guys, and I know Hutch, I think, saw it too. I mean, 2 guys in a row airmailed the green from 90 yards. Those guys know exactly how far they hit a 6-degree wedge, and they're not airmailing the greens. They're not hitting it at 113 when they're trying to hit it 90. It's just not how it goes. And I think that just is going to be improved upon moving forward.
I just feel like it is what it's supposed to be, right? Like, it's fun, and that's what it's supposed to be. But to your point, Ryan, I think the singles get competitive, but I think that's just pride. That's just ego. Like, I'm better than him, and it's. I feel like it is what it's supposed to be. It's a nice little side gig thing that's kind of fun to watch. It's, if any, like, plenty of people who are listening to us or watching us have played in a simulator golf league. That's exactly how it is. Like, you're just hanging out, having fun. That's what it's supposed to be. You might miss some shots, but it is what it is.
When I'm playing simulator golf, I don't watch all my friends shoot. Like, I'm on my phone or I'm grabbing a beer. Like, if you can't even get me to pay attention and work, there's no shot I'm locked in on every shot on ESPN. No. So, no. I think TGL's, unfortunately, it's just such a disparity because golf, I mean, you could go away for 30 minutes and do yard work and come back and you maybe missed a hole and a half on like a Sunday. So you really didn't miss much. Could not be more parallelly opposite for TGL. So it's kind of unfortunate that the contrast is that, wide. It almost makes me think that this kind of format would be better for short form content like the YouTube and stuff and I know that we're going to probably see more of that in the coming years where they try to break out these little mini, tournament events, whatever. But I do think it is kind of tough to gather attention for the entire time. And then, especially when only like 20 minutes of it feels actually competitive or that it's down to the wire. If it's kind of just fluff shots and you're kind of paying attention here and there, it's tough to grab attention.
And I think they try to take some of the criticism that the tour gets of slow play, this, that, and the other. And so then they implemented the baseball shot clock, the pitch clock. And it's kind of like, well, that kind of doesn't work in this format. It would work better on the tour if the guys were actually on the clock, more often. But in an environment like this, when you're hitting into a screen in such short form, broadcasting, it's just it kind of, they're going to have to work out the kinks of that. They're going to have to figure out how to marry hey, this is a quick product. We're not lagging behind. There's not a lot of dead time, but at the same time, it's intriguing and you need to pay attention. So it's just a gap that has to be bridged.
It feels weird to say they need to slow it down a little bit. Like, right? Like, it feels weird to say that because their whole thing was like, this is quick. This is everything that that you hate about watching real golf, which is how slow it is and how much dead time there is. This is the opposite of that, but I think they took it to an extreme and went maybe a little too far.
Yeah,
Well,
what they're not remembering is like, hey, these guys are not walking 5,000 yards. I mean, they're not walking between every shot. So they're not walking 5 and 6 miles, for one golf tournament.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a misstep in the calculation.
just put I don't need you don't need to make a new setting just because, like, fix the rules with the original issue. Like, don't make a new aspect. I don't, pitchers were slow in baseball. I didn't need you to make the Savannah Bananas for me to, like, just add a pitch ball and speed it up a little bit. Like,
But that's a good ass idea though, that them dudes that at golf tournaments that walk around holding the signs with the scores on it.
there was
Like they need to take a clock, just like a football game clock. They just need to take it with them and just put them on the clock.
I agree.
We just fixed
Okay.
golf, boys.
Fellas, just a very quick note here. This is the last Rory item. I promise this is the last Rory thing. It's been a Rory show for every reason. But spotted using TaylorMade P7 CB irons during his TGL match. I know he had switched a few of the irons earlier, late last year, I believe, either in Australia. I think it might have been in Australia. He used 3 irons that were from the P7 CB, but now at TGL, he swapped his entire set. He had been using the Roar's Proto blades, which were essentially a P730 model blade with Tiger Woods grooves embedded into the face. He had been using the same iron since he signed with TaylorMade back in 2017. So for him to move out of blades into the CB model is quite a stark change for him. This was first recorded by Tej Talks Golf on Instagram. Joe, you're a player. What do you think of Rory swapping out blades?
I wish I could be more excited about it. I'm unfortunately, maybe it's because I'm worried out. If Scotty makes a switch, let me know. Maybe I'll. But I think Rory's doing just fine. Yeah, I play not to the level that Tiger grooves and a proto blade matter. Like, trust me, we are so far off from that making a difference for my golf swing.
We're gonna leave that one right there. Hit us up when Tiger switches to the cavity backs.
There you go.
Yeah. But also, do you guys think that this potentially is he getting ahead of the rollback and he wants a cavity back that, he's gonna be losing some distance with a blade, and maybe he gets a little bit more distance with his irons. It could all be like due to that, like down the road. I'm just
One of
throwing it
us.
out there.
He's one of us. Forgiveness is his friend.
Correct.
All right, fellas. Pat Perez, the former Live golfer and Live analyst, broadcaster, parted ways with Live earlier this year. It sounded like it could have been a bit of a frosty ending. Didn't renew, and then now basically throwing some shade. Went on Instagram and posted a photo of a PGA Tour tumbler. He has hinted in recent months that he potentially wants to pursue the Champions Tour, maybe want to go up against Tiger. I think he's 50 years old in March, I want to say. So that's going to be an interesting storyline to watch. But yeah, very interesting for sure to see Pat Perez posting PGA Tour memorabilia across his social media channels. Hutch, what's going on?
I mean, you kind of could see it coming a little bit last year when he didn't play on Live and he was just on the broadcast team. And I don't know if that counts towards his suspension, like since he didn't play any Live events. I don't know if he was getting ahead of it or what, but it feels like the Champions Tour was always on his mind, especially if the cash flow stopped on the Live side of things. Like, it seems like the most logical thing. He's the prototypical guy that kind of went to Live at the beginning. Some of those guys were just biding their time till they could go be competitive on the Champions Tour. And he may not have known if there was a definitive path back, but sure as hell there is, and he's going to be there. I would say, though, going up against Tiger is not advised.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to this. I think all of Pat's relationships are probably frosty endings. Like, I don't think he is a guy that breaks up amicably or anything like that. You know, with his with business, personal, anything. I think it's because he's kind of that guy who has a chip on his shoulder. And I think the other thing is he's like, hey, Tiger's going to be on the Champions Tour. There's a good chance those purses are going to increase. That'd be a nice little way for me to ride into the sunset, this live thing. Maybe he sees something over there that's not working, and or maybe he's like, hey, this broadcast gig thing's not for me. I still want to play some actual golf, and this is a great place for me to go. I can hop in the cart, ride around, play some golf. I'm still competitive, that kind of deal. But I mean, having Tiger with the potential of increasing those purses, I think would be one of the main reasons he's probably touting that PGA Tour logo.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Tiger, we've got a Tiger Woods sighting spotted supporting Charlie at the Junior Orange Bowl Championship in Miami this past weekend. Bit of a welcome sight, not something I was expecting to see. Um, he was with his full entourage of team members and looked like Charlie's buddies, and there was like 6 or 7 notable faces that were around him, including ex-wife Elin Nordegren. It looked like Elin's kids maybe were there as well, with her husband Jordan Cameron, who ex-NFLer. Anyways, it's good to see the entire family out there supporting Charlie. It's just a big family affair there. They're all decked out in their Sunday red from head to toe. Um, Hutch would Hutch would fit right in.
Look, if the invite's there, I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Anyways, I can report that he was walking around. He was walking. He wasn't riding in a golf cart. There was a moment in the match when they were checking Charlie's club for damage, and he was gripping the club, and it looked like he was ready to just pure a 9-iron there. So Tiger can't get back any sooner. I gotta say, he did look really good in the photos. He looked younger. Face was looking pretty fresh and healthy. So you always can kind of tell when things are on the up, and it looked good to me. I'm seeing signs of, rumors starting to swirl here in the next couple of months about when we're going to start to see him bring his ass back on tour.
Yeah, just to see him grip that club, I mean, that was kind of a chill bumps moment for me. And I know that's like baseline nothing, but man, I was like, man, I could just see him teeing it up like in a few months, man. I'm just ready to see it.
Oh yeah, like my first reaction though, honestly, when I saw the photos, I said he looks good. He's coming back. He's walking around. Like I think we're gonna see him. I think there's gonna be. I think we could potentially. Now this is a big potentially, but potentially hear talk about whether he could play the Genesis. I feel like it could be like a discussion. I'm not saying he's going to play at Hutch. I just think that it could be a discussion. It is a tournament that he kind of has near and dear to his heart with the foundation. It means a lot to be out there at that event. It is his
I
own
don't
event.
get it. I don't get it because
I
he
know.
sucks there and it's cold. He sucks at Riv and it's cold.
No, there's
Don't
I
understand
know.
it.
there's no way he'll be there, obviously, and do all this stuff. But if he has any aspirations to play a major soon, or especially Champions Tour, that would be stupid.
I just want caution because again, like we've talked about it before, we had similar back procedures. His was much more invasive than mine, and his was like 2 or 3 days after mine. So that means I'm at 13 weeks tomorrow. So he's just at 3 months. Like it's so, if anybody can do it, it would be him, but I just don't see the point in taking that risk. Like you've got
Next
you
week.
got such big no hell no. Hell no. Like he's got such bigger fish to fry. I want to see him play all 4 majors, and I know we're going to get to some predictions here in a minute, and that's on my list. But I want to see him play all those, and I want to see him play as much as possible. And I don't think risking it at Riv is worth it, especially because again he sucks there and it's cold.
Nothing icy hot can fix up.
Right.
I mean, to your point, John, I think you're going to see a couple of Golf Channel episodes dedicated to him returning and maybe with that potential out there, but it's hard for me to see it. Just knowing that like his goals moving forward is probably not to go out and try to win that golf tournament. His goal, I would think, first and foremost, is to be ready for Augusta if possible. And I know I even questioned that last week of whether I thought that was going to be possible, but I think that's more of his goal. And I don't know that warming up out there, which is clearly not warm, I just don't know if that's the spot for him. But I do think there will be some hype around it. There always is.
You seen that big ass hill he has to walk up at Riv?
Yeah.
Hell,
Yeah.
man.
I am fully in on Augusta. I have no doubt that he's going to play Augusta, to be honest. I think that all the surgery and everything is always timed accordingly to match up with that exact timeline. They know what they're doing when they do it. So I'm expecting we're going to get an Augusta, potentially a start prior to that. I think maybe it won't be Genesis, but I think we could get a tour event prior to Augusta. And then after Augusta, we are on to the Insperity Invitational. I've never been more confident that that's an event he'll be at. It's got this name on the shirt already. Several other guys are playing in that. It's a big one. So I definitely expect the Insperity to be on his schedule. Instead of what's the one at Quail Hollow? The opposite
Truist.
Truist. He will not be at the Truist. He will be at the Insperity. Unfortunate for the PGA Tour, but there will not be a whole lot of attention on the Truist this year.
Man, one of their sick events getting overshadowed by an old people tour.
Oh, well, new CEO Brian Rolap said he is not concerned about that prospect, but that will be a significant issue for them. I have a feeling.
They better send all them PGA Tour live cameras over to the Champions Tour event. Actually, we don't care about new one groups. Yeah, we don't care about the other groups. We just want Tiger's group.
Yeah. All right, fellas, that's about it for all of this stuff. What's our discussion post of the week? I'm going to let Hutch lead it this time because I am not in tune in what we're predicting here.
We're just doing predictions, right? Yeah. So I think we said we were going to do 3 predictions and then 1 bold one, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
for this season.
Yeah. John's going to go because,
just 3 predictions of any sort.
Yeah, I mean, I had just made out
season.
3 predictions. I had 2 of them that were like except like normal, and then the third one for me was like,
Okay, I will start. I can start this.
He's got it off the dome. So
no, I don't. I'm literally gonna pull them out of the air right now. I haven't even thought about it. I'm just gonna do it.
Let's see it.
Tell them what you feel.
Okay, Rory McIlroy is going to win another major, but it won't be the Masters.
Somewhere Nick Fallow's punching the air.
Yeah, Tiger Woods is going to have a combined 7 or more starts this season between the majors, Champions Tour, and PGA Tour. That should be music to your ears, Hutch.
I'm smiling.
Smile more. I think another big live golfer is going to come back to the PGA Tour. I'm not saying it's going to be Bryson necessarily. I mean, they have some big names, right? Like there's some big names. Like think of like Joaquin Niemann. John Rahm's not always excited out there. I'm not saying Rahm's going to be back. He still has a little bit more time left on his deal. So I'm not sure how that would play out, but I do genuinely believe that a decent name player is going to come back. Is that 3 and I need a bold one now?
Yeah, Super Bowl, baby.
Super bold. I don't know. Live Golf cancels their season. Not okay, not in the way that maybe you think, like maybe shutting down at the end of the 2026 season.
Oh yeah, that's feasible. That could happen.
Plausible. It's possible.
I think for me, like I'm thinking, I'm going to take it a step further than you, John. I think Tiger plays 12 events this year.
Wow.
12. I think we're finally going to get that prediction from was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where he said he was going to try to play once a month?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a Champions Tour heavy schedule. Most of it's there. I think he'll use those events to prepare for majors, and he'll sprinkle in some TGL. That's just fun. But I think it's 12 events, not counting TGL. So between the two
Not counting
tours,
the PNC, or yes, including the PNC.
if we get to August and we're at 11, then yes, we will count the PNC. If we have,
Okay.
so just partially because I want to see Charlie play before he is ineligible for it. I think Scotty is going to win the U.S. Open and complete the career Grand Slam.
On his birthday?
Is it on his birthday?
On his birthday. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Then I feel positive about that. That's going to happen for sure. And I think Rory's going to have a tough year. And when I say tough, like he may win once or twice, but there's no majors this year for Rory in my book. There's none. And then for the bold one, I think you see Jordan Spieth come back to prominence this year. And that hurts me because I'm not a Spieth guy, but it feels like it's bubbling. Or I could broaden it. I could broaden it a little bit and say one of those guys kind of fallen off will come back to life, whether it be Spieth or Homa or Fowler. Somebody's going to win a big event. Like
even if you're not a Spieth guy, like Spieth returning to just somewhat of prominence, like it just feels right. Like it just makes the PG
for golf.
It's so 15 like coded. It just feels right.
Yeah, it's a good thing, and that was one of my predictions. And I'll go a step further, maybe coming back to prominence, whatever. I think Spieth actually gets back into the winner's circle this year. I think he finds his form. I think he gets out of his pre-shot routine, kind of yippy looking thing that he's got going on at the top. I think he gets out of that. I think this is the year that Tommy Fleetwood or Terrell Hatton will win their first major. I do think that that's in order this year. Probably a little heavier favorited towards Tommy than Terrell, but Terrell's been playing consistent in the majors for so long. I do think we'll see that. I do think we will see Brooks Koepka play in 3+ PGA Tour events this year. That might be bold to some people, but I don't even think it's that bold. I think we're going to see that for sure. Whether the August deadline holds out for the suspension, I don't know. I think that will probably be lifted a little bit sooner than that. I think he's going to win 3. And then going a little bit against the grain against you, Hutch, I have Rory repeating at the Masters this year. I think all the weight is off his shoulders. He's played so well there every year. He finally got the monkey off his back. He knows he doesn't have to make 3 or 4 double bogeys this year and like struggle to get back into the tournament, that kind of a deal. I think he's going to go back to back this year, and if he goes back to back this year, I think he literally does nothing the rest of the year. I don't think he wins anything after that, but that's my bold prediction is Rory just repeats. He gets to put the jacket on himself.
I feel like Rory, for some reason, I feel like him having the monkey off his back I think he does better, like with the pressure. I mean, I know like the career Grand Slam pressure was a lot, but for some reason, I've just got this notation in my mind that he just kind of shows up and he's like, "Look, last year, like you're not gonna top last year. That moment was too hard to do." And for some reason, I feel like that just makes him play more lax and actually probably hurts him a little bit. Because in fairness, he had to really nut up on some shots last year and hit some stuff that if you weren't absolutely just yearning for that win, you probably wouldn't hit. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be a fan if it did happen, but I guess crazier stuff happened. I will say
he's got visions of Rory putting that green jacket back on Scotty. That's what he's got.
Yeah. Hey, look, they come in bunches. Scotty's going to complete. He's going to be the 10th person to complete the career Grand Slam. It'll be at the U.S. Open, obviously. I think it's his 4 top finishes and 4 top 10 finishes, and then 2 top 3s. So obviously, it's also Scotty. Like he's got a pretty good chance just drawing out of the hat to win it anyway. I had to adjust the last second because I've got to put one out there, and I hate to be a hater. Tiger's playing. If he plays double digits events, I will personally. I hate to do it. I don't want to be a hater, But if Tiger Woods plays double-digit events this year, I'll come up. We'll come up with something. I'll follow him around the following season. Every event he plays, I have to go to.
Hell yeah.
Which is
Okay.
a rule.
What a punishment.
Well, then you got to coincide with the fact.
Yeah, I was expecting something else.
I'm probably getting fired. Fine, we'll come up with something crazy. And then
Joey gets a Sunday Red tattoo across his chest. I think that's
A Rory McIlroy tattoo.
Rory, I'm not putting.
You need the photo of Scotty putting the jacket on Rory tattooed on you.
I would do it. I would do a Sunday Red tattoo somewhere that I can cover up in normal clothes, which is a chest.
Across your chest.
It would have to be no bigger than an iPhone, and not the iPhone by then, because that'll be
I want the iPhone 18 Super Max Pro.
standard iPhone phone. And then my third and final prediction, the largest, Harris English, 3-time winner on the PGA Tour this year, including a major.
Damn.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I mean, if JJ Spawn can come out of nowhere and win a major, pretty much anyone can. So,
Damn.
big on Harris.
Go Dogs, though. He's a dog.
Yeah, I'll give him the.
all right, fellas. Well, you just heard our predictions for the 2026 season. Pretty bold claims there. So we'll see how all these pan out. We will be back next week for a very special episode number 50 of the Nuclear Golf Podcast. As always, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Think we're also going to be uploading to YouTube and figuring out our situation on X. We have some interviews coming up, so we will update everyone with what we're going to be doing with regards to that. As always, we appreciate you guys for tuning in, listening to us chat golf for an hour every Monday night. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And until the next show, we will see you next time on episode number 50 of the Nuclear Golf Podcast. Later.